Night Shift 1982 film. Night Shift is a 1982 American comedy film directed by Ron Howard. The film centers on a timid night shift morgue employee whose life is turned upside down by a new co-worker who fancies himself a free-spirited entrepreneur. It stars Howard's Happy Days co-star Henry Winkler along with Michael Keaton in his first starring role and Shelley Long. Also appearing are Richard Belzer and Clint Howard. There are brief scenes with the young Kevin Costner as frat boy #1, Shannen Doherty as a Bluebell scout, Vincent Schiavelli as a man who delivers a sandwich, and Charles Fleischer as one of the jail prisoners. Winkler was nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, while Keaton won the Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award for Best Supporting Actor. Plot. Charles Fleischer, formerly a successful stockbroker, has found a refuge from the ulcer-inducing Wall Street rat race in his job as an attendant at a New York City morgue. His displeasure at being promoted to night shift supervisor to make room for his boss nephew, Leonard, is exacerbated by the irrational exuberance of Bill Blazejowski, his new co-worker. They are inspired by the plight of Chuck's prostitute neighbor, Belinda, to apply Chuck's financial acumen and Bill's entrepreneurial spirit to open a prostitution service headquartered at the morgue. Chuck falls in love with Belinda, but their relationship becomes complicated when Belinda refuses to quit prostitution. Chuck's passiveness keeps him from telling Belinda he loves her. Meanwhile, Chuck and Bill's foray into the prostitution business draws the ire of dangerous pimps who come to the morgue and threaten to kill Chuck. Bill inadvertently leads two undercover police officers to the morgue where Chuck is being assaulted by the pimps. A shootout ensues. Chuck and Bill are rescued, but are arrested for promoting prostitution. Because their arrest would be a political embarrassment, the two men are offered their old jobs back and a dismissal of all charges. Chuck accepts this, but Bill sees it as an opportunity to bargain with the mayor's office. Chuck and Bill fight and part ways. Chuck's fiancée Charlotte ends their engagement. Chuck sees Belinda in the hall of their apartment complex, but again fails to express his true feelings for her. Belinda leaves, and Chuck becomes angry with himself for being afraid. With renewed determination, Chuck finds Belinda working in an adult club and professes his love for her. He also finds Bill is employed there, apologizes for his harsh words, and assures Bill of the value of his creative ideas. The three leave the club together and go out on the town. Soundtrack. Film's opening theme song is Night Shift by Quarterflash. The closing theme song, That's What Friends Are For, performed by Rod Stewart, was written by Burt Bacharach and Carol Bayer Sager. The official soundtrack was released in 1982 on the Warner Bros. Label. It included 10 selected tracks from the film, 6 of which were written specifically for the film. 1. Night Shift by Quarterflash. 2. Street Talk by Burt Bacharach. 3. Girls Know Her by Al Jarreau. 4. The Love Too Good to Last by Phyllis Hyman. 5. That's What Friends Are For by Rod Stewart. 6. Someday, Someway by Marshall Crenshaw. 7. Penthouse and Pavement by Heaven 17. 8. Talk Talk by Talk Talk. 9. Everlasting Love by Rufus and Chaka Khan. 10. That's What Friends Are For Night Shift Love Theme Instrumental by Burt Bacharach. The soundtrack was released solely on vinyl and cassette. The versions of Talk Talk and Penthouse and Pavement that are on the soundtrack are different from any other releases of the songs as they were specially mixed for the soundtrack. Other songs heard in the film include You Really Got Me by Van Halen and a live version of Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Rolling Stones taken from the 1977 live album Love You Live. A section of Cutting Branches for a Temporary Shelter by the Penguin Cafe Orchestra is also heard. Box office. Night Shift grossed $21,095,638 million at the domestic box office. Critical reception. Night Shift received mostly positive reviews from critics. On review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 93% based on 28 reviews, with an average rating of 6.70/10. The site's critics' consensus reads, Night Shift bristles with pitch-perfect glass thanks to Ron Howard's snappy direction and a side-splitting 10 from Michael Keaton. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 62 out of 100, based on 11 reviews, indicating generally favorable reviews. Many reviewers praised the performances of the two male leads, particularly Michael Keaton. TV Guide Movie Guide wrote that Winkler turns in the best performance of his career, and Keaton is wonderful. The Chicago reader Jonathan Rosenbaum compared Night Shift to the subsequent comedy film Risky Business, which also dealt with the theme of prostitution, noting that Night Shift is not as snappily directed or as caustically conceived, but it's arguably just as sexy and almost as funny. Janet Maslin of the New York Times, however, deemed Night Shift a halfway funny movie, one that's got loads of good gags in its first half and nothing but trouble in its second. Gene Siskel, writing in the Chicago Tribune, gave the film 2 stars out of 4 but hailed Keaton's superb comic performance, writing that based on this one role, I would now pay to see Keaton in just about anything except Night Shift.